talking about your new EP. I know that you not only produce but also engineer all of your content and have a home studio all to yourself. So can you talk about how your workflow is with that a little bit?
My workflow is very tenacious. I spend a lot of my time at home working. You know, if I'm not producing, I'm mixing something I rapped on or produced, or, you know, I'm trying to learn the guitar right now. I actually have been playing the guitar recently on a lot of my songs.
Okay.
And I'm trying to become just a whole musician. You know, I'm really dedicating myself to becoming a full, well-rounded, versatile musician.
Totally. Okay. How do you think working from home helps or hinders your creativity?
Hinders in a sense where I used to be in a band called Hurt Everybody, and I feel like we had a really good hot streak because our energy was so opposite that it forced new things to happen. You know, when yellow, red, and blue are in the same pot, you're going to get a different color, you know?
Yeah.
And by yourself, you don't really have that extra energy to bounce off of. But that solitude is irreplaceable, you know? It's kind of like necessary, especially for a person like me.
Right.
And I really enjoy being able to, you know, go upstairs, watch videos on history and the art of war and things like that, and then go downstairs and translate that feeling, what I just learned, with my own life. You know, it gives me better metaphors. I don't lose it so quickly, you know.
Yeah,
I can work faster.
So with Hurt Everybody, you also recorded from home?
Well, with Hurt Everybody, we had a studio that we lived in at the Music Garage.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we didn't technically live in there, but we damn near did.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha. So for your new EP, Just Say Thanks?
Just Say Thank You.
Just Say Thank You. Okay. What were your biggest inspirations for that project?
This last year and a half has been very tumultuous, and it's also been very rewarding and gratifying. I've been able to do a lot of big dog things I've never been able to do before because of the success from Finally Dead. And I've shared all of my victories. I've shared all of my money, all of my success, everything I can at this point. And what I'm starting to realize as I become a full-fledged man is it's a thankless job in general, doing for others. You know, you got to get used to not hearing thank you, not expecting thank you. But at the same time, I'm not quite a man yet because I still want that. I still expect it. You know, at one point I offered to do my parents' bathroom. I was just going to redo it for them. Yeah. And the first thing that my dad said was, well, you can't afford it. Well, I want this. Well, if you can't add this part, I don't really want it done, instead of just saying thank you. You know what I mean? And there's just several examples like that in my life. My girlfriend, my sister, even myself sometimes. I do that to other people. And that's really the feeling of the tape. No matter what's going on, if I'm talking about love, if I'm talking about some street shit, all of it breaks down to, hey, we got this. I just risked my life for this bag. Me and my homies, all y'all niggas gotta do is say thank you. You know, you was late on rent, you're not late on rent no more. You needed this car payment, you got this car payment. When my parents is that electricity on now, you got this check, you got blah blah blah, just say thank you. When my sister is just look at Christmas. That Christmas is a little bit better for your kids, ain't it? Just say thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, are there any other feelings that you're really trying to get across with this EP, or just really just that feeling of being thankful yourself too, or more just the people in your life you feel need to be more thankful?
Myself, people in my life, I want others to see that around them. You know what I mean? People often don't care about the people who do for them every day because they're used to it. It becomes a routine. It becomes, you're supposed to do this for me. You're supposed to pick me up and take me to work. You're supposed to spend the extra $5 to get me a sandwich because I can afford a sandwich. In friendships and whatever, people just get used to each other, and that builds resentment and makes the world cold. You know what I mean?
Right, so your library boasts a pretty impressive group of collaborations. What were your decision-making process for choosing who you wanted to put on this EP, and how has it felt working with some of these bigger names recently? This
one was really homie-based. A lot of times I kind of sought people out, you know, and it's always been homies that I work with. Right. But it's okay, I really hear Saba on this right here. I really hear, you know, Mick on this, or Twisted so-and-so, la la la. On this one, you know, I wasn't really outside much. I was really to myself, and it shows just the few people that I was spending time with in that era, you know. Outside of Raj is from out of state, but a friend nonetheless. Been wanting to work with him for a long time, and he happened to be in Chicago one night, came through, knocked it out in one sitting, and that became time for me. So yeah, it's been really cool, and it's humbling because each of these artists are people that I look up to in different ways. You know what I mean? To me, Buru, for example, it has that youthful. I can risk it all. Like with me, like I feel like I'm at a point where I have to be calculated. I have to be deliberate. I have to be a jaguar. The meaning of jaguar is he who kills in one strike. I don't have time to waste. I gotta just get this shit done. And when I'm around my younger homies, it makes that edge go away. It makes me feel just like a person again. It's like, okay, like, yeah, the music is fun. This isn't just like a mission. This isn't just like a competition. Like, this is actually like what we love to do. And Buru makes me feel that way. And then, like, you know, working with someone like Chance, it's like I feel way more galvanized. I feel better with my convictions and how I feel about my community, you know, and like my overall mission is like, you know, like I don't want chains and all that either, you know what I mean? Like I wanna provide for my family as well. I wanna provide for for young black kids and children in general. I wanna be a cultural provider as well, you know? Or with Rex's singing talents are just stellar, you know, second to none. Like the fact that like he's just like this huge mountain of a man, but like is hitting falsettos and everything accurately, no auto-tune. Like each of these people bring something to the table that I need to learn from, you know. Totally. And yeah, that's why it was just a perfect fit on this project. Dunya even, like Dunya is just like, so talented. The way she plays with her voice and her own like concept, how like we're on our song Entropy. I'm saying I went to the beach to look for Jesus, and I'm talking about, you know, self-discovery and trying to explain, like, you know, what is happiness, what do I want to feel, why do I want to feel. Entropy is what I want to feel. Entropy being anything, any direction. I just want to go anywhere else but here. And she feels the same way. She went to the beach to look for Allah, and she goes on her own journey where she's just expressing how, like, I'm just a woman trying to be a woman, and y'all won't let me be, you know. And like we all of us relate to a certain extent on each song. In Remembering, me and Chance are speaking to our women and just saying, like, you know, like, we love you. Remember the promises that we made to you. Like, look at what we do for you today. Like, look at what's happening right now. You know, like, we're standing by what we said. Just remember those words and don't let go of that. Or with, you know, Raj, Time for Me. Time for Me is a song about, in my opinion, patience. The new conversation of consent. The new conversation of how to even approach and speak to a woman, and courtship in general. You know, like, we're not really taught courtship these days. And it's okay to ask a woman, you know, like, do you have time for me? It's okay to approach a woman who's dating other people, if you're dating other people or whatever, and ask, you know, like, would you like to try this relationship out? You know, a lot of people are very toxic in their masculinity, where it's just like, oh, like, she talking to other people, that's a hoe, or I don't want to approach her, la la la. I need a princess. Where's my virgin princess at? You know what I mean? It's like unrealistic, ridiculous standard. And if it's not that, then it's hoe, thought, this and that. You know. And yeah, these are just like every song is just like different conversations that like not necessarily need to be had, but they're just not had enough. You know. And I'm happy to be able to explore that.
Yeah, and I think that's so valuable. And also just like the fact that you're able to bring all of these people, whether it's from like past collaborations or just like, you know, networking through people you know, on top of producing, engineering. Like, how do you feel being able to like be in basically total creative control of all of your content? Because I feel like that's pretty rare, honestly.
Ironically, I feel incomplete, you know?
Really? Okay.
Because like, again, I have so much more to absorb, so much more to learn. You know, I still can't play my guitar perfectly, you know? Like, I still can't like produce as well as like Peter Cottontail and Carter Lang and like those people, you know, like Felix. Like, there's so many people that like I look up to and see them getting it. Werner, I see them just musical geniuses like that. When I reach that point, then I feel like I'm truly DIY.
So I have to say, I feel like you really embody the DIY movement. You've got No Thanks tattooed on your back, and with this EP, Just Say Thank You. How do you feel like, are those like contradicting? Does the tattoo align with the message of the EP? Like, is this kind of representing some sort of growth? Like, can you explain that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you asked that. It's definitely a process. No Thanks is going to be my second album, right, and it's very important to me. I was supposed to actually be dropping that like months and months ago, but like, again, like I was talking about earlier, being incomplete, I want to be able to play the guitar when I drop No Thanks. I want to be able to play the drums and like craft every piece of it, you know what I mean? But the difference in ideologies is Just Say Thank You is a need to be appreciated. Just Say Thank You is literally like, in the shortest way, like, I just risked my life for this bag for us, and you eat and you leave dishes and you leave. You know what I mean? And there's nothing in between. Whereas no thank you is the abolishment of delegation. Like, it's just like delegation is a fatal flaw when it comes to being a leader or a creator of any type. You know what I mean? Like, no thanks to me means no thank you, I'll do it myself. Okay. No thank you, I don't want your help. And it's not just because like on some like salty, like, oh, everyone lets me down. But in a realistic sense, I won't let me down. In a realistic sense, I know that I'll get up and do it. I will do it.
Right.
I don't know if you'll do it. You say you'll do it, I don't know. You know, no thanks is the relinquishment of delegation, and of just like those bonds in general. The no thanks is like, even with my parents, for a long time, we've had a very, you know, up and down relationship, but we're now reaching that point where I've never really wanted to move out of town away from them, you know what I mean? But now we're at that point where like they're grown, they're going their path, I'm going my path, and it went from the just say thank you phase to the no thanks phase, you know, like still love, let me know what you need, but I don't need anything, you know, like I'll be okay. Like,
Totally.
and yeah, they're conflicting feelings, and I wanted to tell this story first so that no thanks would make more sense. I don't want to come out and just seem like a crab, seem like an angry, ungrateful person, you know, like resentment builds and it comes from somewhere, you know, and this is where what it is, you know, this is why.
Alright, so I feel like giving back to your community can be seen as a luxury kind of taken for granted by a lot of artists, but I mean, obviously Chicago has a long history of people like giving back, you know, especially artists in the community and everything. Do you have anyone that you are like looking up to as far as like artists, role models in that regard?
Honestly, at this point, the only person I can think of offhand, and I say it all the time, like, but I mean it in just the purest way possible, Chance.
Yeah.
Chance puts his money where his mouth is. Chance has given multiple millions to the Chicago public school system out of his pocket.
Right.
You know, Chance has tried to, you know, help change the mayoral structure. You know what I mean? Like, he's actually trying to fight institutionalized racism and trying to battle back years of just systematic tactical poverty. You know what I mean? Right. And yeah, I don't see anybody else really doing things like that. You know, people, R.I.P. Nipsey, people say that Nipsey was doing things like that. He had his story, he was hiring felons and, you know, helping you, giving back. That's a way to give back, because, you know, once you got a felony, nobody fucks you. You can't get a house, you can't do anything. You're fucked, you know? Yeah. But yeah, things like that are very important. It's very important to give people second chances, like Nipsey was doing. And it's very important to even provide a chance to begin with, which is what Chance is doing. Totally. Like, that's beautiful to me.
Yeah. And I know that before you even considered doing music, I was told that you were kind of considering doing education or like maybe sort of teaching. So like, how do you feel like you've kind of incorporated that into maybe not your music, but more like your lifestyle?
I haven't been doing a very good job of it, to be honest. I think the only way I really do it is just by speaking. Like in moments like this, when people are actually able to, like, beyond the music, sit down and hear me speak. I'm not just like, yo, motherfucker, yeah, let's get it, you know, like, no shade, you know. Right. But it's okay to be composed. It's okay to speak eloquently. It's okay to really articulate and be understood. You know, like a lot of people, young cats will see this and, oh, he's square, he this and that. Where I'm the farthest thing from that. You know, like there's other things in the internet that can prove that. But otherwise, it's like just be smooth, you know, like life is like a lot easier when you just like smooth and yourself. I'm very comfortable just being myself, you know.
Yeah, obviously too, you've had like a good amount of support from the people of Chicago with your music, and I feel like that's like where a good amount of your fan base kind of lives. How do you think that your music has affected, I mean, I'm not saying necessarily like everyone in Chicago, but at least, you know, those that you've been able to interact with, or those fans that, you know, have been loyal to you since you started? From
the fans, it really helps them the same way it helps me, you know. I've never been a journal keeping type kid, but like the music is really how I express myself. Like you can hear phases of my life, you can hear like, you know, like I lost somebody here, like, oh, this girl broke his heart here, this is when the music started picking up. Oh, he obviously getting money now, you know what I mean? You can literally hear, it's like reading my diary, you know. And a lot of people are going through that as well. And a lot of times, you know, especially in Chicago, people only sing about, you know, championship. You know, there's only victories. It's only, you know, I fucked your bitch, not, oh, somebody fucked my bitch. You know what I mean? It's only like, oh yeah, I kicked your door, nobody kicked my door. You know what I mean? Like the whole story is not being told, whereas I'm telling a whole story. Not to say that my door's getting kicked and my bitch is getting hugged, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, I think I explore a deeper spectrum emotionally, and it's appreciated. And it's also like spawned a lot of different, you know, cats. You know, I'm not gonna call no names. I'm not, you know, trying to cause trouble, but you know, been really doing this since 2008. And like back in the day, everybody's like, man, you emotional, you weird. This shit emo. This is some rock and roll. Like that shit gay. Like that's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And like, you know, 10 years later, you know, 12 years later, it's like this is what everybody is doing now, you know?
Totally. So I have to ask kind of off of that, how do you feel about like the term emo rap and like kind of people labeling, I don't know if it's really more of like people have started labeling a broader, you know, spectrum of music as emo rap, but like do you have any feelings about that word like specifically?
I mean, it's just become like, just since the SoundCloud era became synonymous with the word clout, all of this whole bubble, everything that's even like bubbling up right now is just like kind of convoluted, you know what I mean?
For
like
sure.
It's hard to tell like what is and what isn't, but I know for a fact that like, you know, in 2008, 2007, me and my friends were listening to Circus Survive, Dance Gavin Dance, you know, like Omarosa, Under Oath, just like the most crybaby shit ever. And we were replicating that with our hip hop because we couldn't play guitars, you know? We couldn't like drum, we didn't have instruments like that, but we had FL Studio and we had microphones.
Right.
And that's what we did.
Alright, so obviously you just had the EP drop. What's your summer look like? Do you have any shows lined up? Like what's your future looking like right now?
Right now, we're focusing on getting out another EP before No Thanks. And what we want to do is get all this music out because I've been on hiatus for like literally like 2 years now almost, and I think it's really important even before like I start hitting the road. Like I need to spend as much time as I can getting more and more content out, period, more and more content. So hopefully like within like the next few months, because like I want to get this next EP out ASAP. Next few months back on the road going crazy, you know, I want to do something overseas, like really like step out. But yeah, if I step out now, then I won't be able to really focus on this other project at all, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And it's very important to get that content ready.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to share, just like whether it's about the EP or like anything coming up?
Yeah, just say thank you is very important to me. Please check it out. I've produced a lot of it. There's production from a lot of my close friends on there. It's very earnest, you know, it starts off with love. It grows to maturity, and it turns into just like a street opera, just like literally a hood opera, and it's beautiful and it's well thought out. It's Freddie Mercury pre teeth operation. It's tight.
Okay.
Original Mercury.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about it, and I think we're all looking forward to what you've got coming this summer and just your next generation of music, basically. So
All right, thanks for having me.
Sure.